SparkLab is a video content library specifically dedicated for crypto and NFTs. If there was someone else for maybe more experienced people or just another dedicated place, then I think that would really help people learn more. It would help maybe somebody new get a little bit more focused, kind of be distraction free. And so that kind of birthed the idea of the Spark Lab. Search like what is blockchain or what is Cardano? What are some of the top videos you're going to see? 1000x gains. Must buy Cardano now. Cardano's going to $10, going to $100, and it's like people who have no idea, right? A part of like having a degree in education, understanding framework and scope and sequence, pedagogy. These are all these different like educational terms that come into play. So it's like the first bullet point on the roadmap is just you've got all the non-exclusive stuff, at least a very good base. We already have about 250 videos preloaded into the site, ready to go, ready to be viewed. A lot of that again is the non-exclusive curated stuff. So basically just building up like, okay, talking with content creators who are already signed on, projects who are signed on. Okay, how do we get some original content flowing that you'll need either, and we'll talk about probably subscription levels later, but like monthly subscription or be an NFT holder to be able to access some of that original stuff. From just saying, I don't think there's anybody really doing what we're doing specifically. There's a lot of Web 2 versions, right? You've got Netflix and Amazon Prime, and you've got plenty of those to have a case study for. But just in terms of Web 3, my network in the space, so we already have a lot of content creators, again, in this ecosystem that have already signed contracts. So we've got Atlantic, we've got Cardano Thor, Block is Hot, Freedom 35ers, Late Game Crypto. I think those are all the content creators, and then projects, Cornucopias, Dead Rabbit Resurrection Society, Keyboard Warriors, Chains of War, Virtua, Wolves of Rome. I think I'm missing some other ones, but like there's like 13 or 14, right, that have already signed on before we've even launched.
Yo, what's good? This is Stu from Stu TV. I cover all things blockchain, metaverse, crypto, NFTs, all money making opportunities in the space. I got a special guest with me today. I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself to the audience. What's good, man?
Hey, my name's Blakecnft. I am a Cardano NFT content creator for about the last year and a half. Run my own YouTube channel, video content, and have just recently, within the last about 6 months, 7 months now, have been working on my own project, which is called the Spark Lab, and I'm sure we'll get into more of that later. But that's kind of been my baby that I've been working on with the other team members to kind of bring to life. And so kind of got those two different parts. But yeah, just love this ecosystem and love all the stuff that's going on here and learning all that I can.
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely happy to have you on. And just to even get into Spark Lab, just as far as just my first, I guess, diving in line of questions, what exactly is Spark Lab and what inspired you to like create the project?
Yeah, so the Spark Lab is a video content library specifically dedicated for crypto and NFTs. It's kind of the 30,000 foot level. And really the inspiration behind it, or a lot of people say kind of innovation or an idea or a startup kind of comes out of a need or something in your own journey or your own experience. And for me, that definitely was the case, where there were so many times that it just seems like a lot of the crypto and NFT content in its current state is all hosted on YouTube. Don't have anything negative against YouTube. I host a weekly show. I do videos on there all the time. But because of its size, and there are millions of channels, literally over 1 billion people that use the platform, there's just so much different content. You can get lost and distracted so easily. We all have experienced the YouTube rabbit hole. And so I was going to YouTube because that was the place where crypto videos were, and was quickly distracted by other things that I was interested in. Might be like soccer highlights or something else, right? And it was like, man, if there was actually a place that was separate from YouTube. YouTube's great. It's great for new people, especially because that's where new people are most likely going to search. But if there was someone else for maybe more experienced people or just another dedicated place, then I think that would really help people learn more. It would help maybe somebody new get a little bit more focused, kind of be distraction free. And so that kind of birthed the idea of the Spark Lab. And and now we've kind of got our site up and running currently, and we're minting here in the next couple of weeks. So trying to bring that idea to life.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, if I'm just following you, just understanding you correctly. So, with the Spark Lab, it's just going to be an all-in-one central hub, in terms of just having video content in a very organized manner, to where it's like very organized and it's digestible, and people can kind of get the information they need and not necessarily be spread out amongst and trying to just sift through just a lot of information and kind of finding good and bad information. You have all in one process to where people can just get the information they need.
Yes, you're exactly right. So yeah, kind of the two main pillars, or two of the important pillars, is this organized, structured, separated from YouTube place that is really easy user experience, user design, or UI UX, and then people that are on there are people that you can trust. These aren't just like, not everybody can upload not similar to YouTube. Not everybody can upload on the Spark Lab, so it's going to be a lot more like trusted people, vetted community that has said, hey, we want these people to be on the platform, more stuff like that. So those are two of the big pillars that we are going after.
Yeah, for sure. I can see how that, just covers a need, because I know just from personal experience when I got in, there was just so much information. My mind was bombarded. And then I was just kind of just getting information from everywhere, trying to put pieces together and trying to, like, fit, make sense of this whole entire space. Just over time, it might be took me a lot longer, but with a platform like this, somebody may be able to decrease their time in terms of learning the right information, because that was something that I was lucky, just coming in, just following certain pioneers in the space like yourself, and like actually learned the right information, and then also you just had a volume of that. So that's definitely great as far as what you're
Can I
building.
speak on that just really quickly?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. No.
Yeah, I mean, and something that you might have experienced as you were searching, if you might have searched like, what is blockchain or what is Cardano, what are some of the top videos you're going to see? 1,000x gains. Must buy Cardano now. Cardano's going to $10, going to $100, and it's like, people who have no idea, right? And I, again, from personal experience, this was back in 2019 or whatever. Like, this was before I kind of started taking crypto seriously. I almost got scammed by one of those very classic, like, send in and you get money back. Like, I just didn't know. I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy. I can't believe this. Obviously, it was too good to be true, but like, on YouTube, you could potentially, new people can get suckered into those types of scams where, again, so instead of telling your friend or family member, whoever's trying to get interested in crypto, oh, just go to YouTube and search what is Cardano, right? One, who do I trust? And they're gonna experience those types of videos, or go to the Spark Lab and either watch videos or see it in a different layout and different format.
Yeah, for sure. I can understand that, especially just for like new people coming into the space. I think sometimes, like, just even with what you're doing and just how this space is, I feel like customer service, or just the level of explanation in terms of explaining what exactly this space is, I feel like we could do a much better job, like, overall, not just individual, but just as an entire ecosystem as far as onboarding people. Just because we make it so complex of a process. I mean, for me, I always define like NFTs as far as even what you said, what is Cardano and like a 100x and just all these gimmicky clickbait type videos. I know for me, just even from a breakdown or from an NFT standpoint, what exactly is NFTs? Well, for a layman's dictionary definition, I think layman's is just more so an NFT is like Shark Tank on steroids. You have a product or a service, an idea that you want to pitch out to like shareholders, and then they just be able to invest globally from a global aspect, and you just get donors all over the world. So I feel like that is just like a big aspect. So yeah, just coming in, I think sometimes we take for granted just the information, how fast this space is, and how fast we accumulate information. Is really hard for people to jump on that wave pattern as far as how fast information moves in this space.
Yes, 100% agree. There are some people who like are in my personal network who hear that I'm doing a channel, or somebody, my family or someone will say that, and they watch one of my videos, which is not really, I don't feel like it's that crazy or whatever, but like, it's a NFT market update, and they're like, I have no idea what you're saying. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess you're not really the audience, but like, yeah, there is so much vocabulary and so many different things that we talk about that just way over the head, just because they haven't built that foundational layer yet. So yeah, the Spark Lab is trying to tackle that issue in multiple different ways. But I think the other thing that kind of sets me apart a little bit in this way is just having a background in education. So it's not just like, oh, I'm just a, you know, random YouTuber who's just like trying out this internet video thing. It's like, I mean, yeah, part of that is true, but then there's another part of like having a degree in education, understanding framework and scope and sequence, pedagogy. These are all these different like educational terms that come into play. So it's like, okay, it's not just like make a good video. It's how do you make a video that actually you can communicate something clearly. You can help people wrap their mind around certain ideas, and you can kind of take somebody along a journey as opposed to, again, just throwing a video out there. So that's another area that I think is a strength for the Spark Lab.
Yeah, that's a very like underestimated element in terms of like people being able to have a digestible, organized information, like how the information is presented. I feel like that also in itself just could be a level just coming with that. So like, but yeah, definitely just looking forward to the actual release and mint of your project. As far as just going on with your project, just one thing I wanted to talk about. Can you talk about like as far as your roadmap? Like I know it mentioned like things like content management, live streams, courses, even like an app eventually that you want to come out with. Can you just speak to some of the things in your roadmap and some things that you want to build for your project?
Sure. Yeah, and I'll kind of take it from video content library of crypto and NFTs down to the roadmap level, and then there's this kind of intermediary level. Uh, so there's going to be two different types of content that's going to be on the platform. One is going to be what we're calling kind of curated content. So we're taking videos from YouTube, or if somebody is a Twitch streamer, or someone posts like a project posts a Twitter video, right? We're going to be curating all of that, or as much as we can, into the Spark Lab. So it's basically just going to be, you could find that elsewhere, but it's also going to be on the Spark Lab. And then we have this original content similar to like, Stranger Things on Netflix, or Lord of the Rings on Amazon. There's these platforms know that you have to have original content to keep people coming back to the platform. So we're also working to build up original content on that side. So the first bullet point on the roadmap is just, we've got all the non-exclusive stuff, at least a very good base. We already have about 250 videos preloaded into the site, ready to go, ready to be viewed. A lot of that, again, is the non-exclusive curated stuff. So basically just building up like, okay, talking with content creators who are already signed on, projects who are signed on. Okay, how do we get some original content flowing that you'll need either, and we'll talk about probably subscription levels later, but like monthly subscription or be an NFT holder to be able to access some of that original stuff. And then one of the other things on the roadmap is kind of automation of content. And I kind of wrote that, and then I brought on Thaddeus from Wild Tangs. If you guys are familiar with this community, Wild Tangs has been a huge player in kind of open sourcing technology and just being a really great developer. And he's already helped a ton in that. There's still some ways to go, but like in terms of like how I can tag videos and it automatically is changed on the site side, and a lot of stuff with like signing users on and getting people ready to go. Like he's helped me a lot in that already, but there's still progress there. Bringing on new content creators and different projects. Again, this is not just going to be Cardano focused. I think I have, there's already obviously a base network that I have just being in the space for over 2 years. So I'm tapping into that initially, but again, hope to, again, it's trusted people, right? It doesn't have to be trusted in Cardano. So like, hey, you might be interested in Ethereum NFTs, but you're like, who's the one who's trying to do the 1000x stuff and scam me or try to mint their NFT, or who's the person who's actually trying to give good information? They might only have 2,000 subscribers or 500 subscribers, but they're actually putting in good work and like actually putting good videos together. Anyway, so there's that as well. And then courses, again, is kind of directed to the brand new person. So again, the example that we had said, go to YouTube, what is Cardano or what is blockchain? You're going to have a crazy amount of different answers. But what if there was, blockchain 101 course on the Spark Lab, which will happen. It's just not going to be kind of version 1. then you could walk a friend or someone through a 6-part series on the very basics of what blockchain is. So those are just a few of those, and then we'll move into a native mobile app. There it is going to be mobile browser friendly from like it's currently browser friendly right now, but then to have its own app to be on the iOS store or Android is also a huge step forward, and we're pretty confident we can deliver that pretty quickly after mint.
Yeah. So like I know you had mentioned like blockchains in terms of, somebody getting a person that covers like the Ethereum blockchain and not necessarily, just is there information like does he have a good base of information? Is he trustworthy? Just different things that you look for. Do you have like already a set list of blockchains that you want to like cover, or just things that you're looking to in the future, or just ones that you wanting to get into as far as your particular game plan on that, as far as blockchains outside of Cardano?
Yeah, I think the obvious ones are ETH, and then Polygon's obviously had a huge rise to popularity. I think there's a lot of ways that it's very different from Cardano, but you can't argue that their NFT ecosystem is experiencing a lot of growth. So it's like, hey, this is a new opportunity. Like maybe you can make some flips or do some trades or just do some NFT stuff over there. And then another very new thing is these Bitcoin ordinals. So I'm sure there are either a lot of new content creators that are just focused on ordinals, or ETH people who might be bored in ETH ecosystem are starting to make some ordinals videos or just whatever. So I think I see those three as being kind of obvious ones. Solana's had a rough go, so I don't know how relevant Solana's are anymore. VeChain is another one that's pretty low in the volume, but like has a strong community and could see some, there could be some crazy gains in terms of just if it's like catching on a lot, down the road. So those are just some other ideas.
Yeah. Just even off top, just because like as far as my mind is kind of just racing as you
Yeah,
was
yeah,
talking, and like even with the live streams, like you're pulling people just from different blockchains, covering ordinals, covering Polygon, ETH, just whatever blockchains. Even with that, with all these people from so many different blockchains and looking at different projects and so much innovation that is exposed on that level, do you have plans on like creating like, I don't even know how you would put it, like conglomerates in terms of like a mad, let's say it's like a big live stream from like all these people from different blockchains, and it's just like it's like a mass, I don't even know what you would call it, like a blockchain party or something, to where you
yeah.
would host like big events for your project. Is that something that that you have in the works, or just something that you would consider with your project if you haven't already?
Yeah, it's definitely something I would consider. I don't. So that we in terms of just Cardano content creators is kind of a small example. We've done just I've been a large player in organizing these CNFT lives. There's two of them kind of out that have already happened. It's hard to get all of us in a room or like in a live stream together,
Yeah.
but like that's kind of a miniature version of what we could do. And then yeah, it's really just like any content creator that's signed on or any project is obviously more willing to be part of a larger space, which draws more attention or whatever. And then to have that maybe exclusively on the site. And so yeah, I would love to have something like that. Whether that's pre-recorded or whether that's a live stream, that would be really like a really cool thing to do. I think I'm open to that.
Yeah, because it just kind of just like it promotes like as far as eventually it's gonna be interoperability in between chains. So like that's something that we all push. That's what something that I want to personally push for and see in the space. Just
Right.
because to see that, oh yeah, you're an ETH guy, or you get laughed at if you buy like Cardano projects or just different things. I hope that kind of decreases, just
Right.
because like we're all in the same space going for the same goal. So I think just even in any chain, like as one project moves, that's a win for the entire space. At least that's how I see it personally. So this, what you're
Yeah.
building is definitely like along the lines like with that. And I just want to just kind of maybe just shift the direction just a little bit in conversation in terms of like, I know personally like well, just for me following you, like you've been in Cardano heavy and different things, and just like how you just started your project. What made you choose like Cardano? As far as when you first got into NFTs, like what was your biggest selling point when you just first got into the blockchain?
Yeah. My journey started in like December of 2020 when a trusted friend and I were talking back and forth, kind of end of the year, New Year's resolution kind of stuff. And I was talking about some of the stuff that I was doing, and he had mentioned that he was like kind of getting into blockchain. And I was like, no way, not you, right? Like, there's no way that you're falling for this stuff. We'd obviously heard about Bitcoin and all this stuff, and then you know, uh, I just kind of took him at face value, and like started like looked into Binance, and started like what's a centralized exchange, again from the very bare bones, very beginning, watch some people on YouTube,
Yeah.
Journey Crypto and Sheldon something, some of these bigger channels, um, BitBoy of course, and so then Bitcoin hit 40K in January, and I was like, okay, there's something more to this than I'm just not seeing it right. I'm just blind, or I just have my presupposition is incorrect about this blockchain thing. So then that sent me into another, dive of just hundreds of hours, and and then I pretty quickly found Cardano, through trusted people that I had trusted, like BitBoy had said some positive things. Had a recent interview with Charles around that time. Journey Crypto was always kind of pro Cardano when he was doing his market stuff, and so it was like, okay, well, let's figure out what this Cardano thing is, and then quickly found Charles, and I could just sense his expertise. I could sense just his genuine curiosity in the space, being early in Bitcoin, to then co-founding Ethereum, to then having philosophical differences, and then starting Cardano. Like, you could just tell OG from the beginning, and then like just wicked smart. And then that can be polarizing too, because then he says certain things, and that gets him in trouble. And then just the foundations of what Cardano is, and then like, if I'm going to be trading NFTs, I want to be able to, and I want to hold it for an extended period of time. I want to ensure that the blockchain underneath it is strong enough to support it. And again, unfortunately for Solana, we see how that can negatively affect your NFT value when the chain just literally implodes under you. So it's like, okay, yeah, if I'm going to be trading NFTs, then I want to do it on a chain that I think will actually be here for the next 100 years plus. So Cardano is a pretty obvious one in my book on that. So that's pretty quickly how I found Cardano. Then it was just like, there is so, again, similar to what you're saying, there's so much stuff going on in the entire crypto ecosystem that I have to narrow down. I just have to narrow down, or I'm going to drive myself crazy, because I already have full-time job, family. There's just no way I'm going to be able to keep myself together being that spread wide. So I figured deeper was better than just 1 foot across, 1 foot just shallow.
Yeah, that's similar. Just how I feel. I know Cardano. I'm bridging over to other chains, but Cardano is always gonna be home to me. In terms of like the ecosystem I built, and then I've also had like a similar story. I've probably been really into crypto and then NFTs probably the end of 2020 going into 2021. I know when the pandemic hit, I was simultaneously into crypto and stocks at the same time. And I was just like, I'm just going to divide my money in half and put one in the other. But then once I really understood blockchain and what it did, I sold all my stocks, all my Tesla stocks, and I put it in Ethereum. I remember one moment I wish I could have back. I saw Ethereum. I know my brother had introduced me to crypto in 2017, and I wish I would have pushed harder, but I saw Ethereum at $97, and like, I saw it right there, and I know Binance was one of the more popular exchanges, and it was like damn near impossible to get it at that point once Bitcoin had that crazy run to like 20K. So, and then I started then obviously watching BitBoy Crypto, by that time, watching him, and then the price shot up to like 300. So luckily I jumped in on Ethereum around $300. So then that kind of, I just started just staying DCAing into crypto, and then obviously the market had a big boom, like you said, it pushed to 40K, and then like, during that time, like the bull run was booming, it pushed all the way to 69K, and I rode that all the way down. I was one of the people that didn't sell and just all that type of stuff, but now, that could have made me feel one of two ways. One, I could have either went like straight and be like, nah, forget this crypto stuff,
right.
But then I delved deeper and just like, how can I get further in it? There must be some way to make money outside of this by just buying and selling the coins. So that's kind of like, my story. So it's interesting that you have like similar stories in terms of that. I just want to also ask too. I know you had touched on it before, but if you had any more initial thoughts on this, what would you say is like your competitive like advantage in terms of a project that offers a similar service as you? What is your competitive advantage like against them? Like, what do you do different, or just like the barometer or how you set the bar?
Yeah. Well, and I've asked a lot of people. I've pitched this idea to a lot of people, and I've always asked like, what are other people? Where are other any blockchain, right? What are my other competitors who are really doing something similar to what the Spark Lab is doing? And I honestly like can't find somebody who's doing it like the same way that I'm doing it. I think one is that there is an ETH project that's doing has a YouTube channel, and they do a lot of like basic beginner blockchain explainer videos with like the hand drawing style. And it's like, okay, that's great. Like they have a ton of subscribers, and like that's good, but it's not like a holistic like here's a channel and here's a person and here's a project. It's not that style. And then I think in terms of like Cardano specific, you will also have like a maybe Newcast would probably be one that's similar in some ways, where they've got kind of a site there. And I think the difference with Newcast and myself, and again, I don't have anything negative to say against them, but I think their model is more B2B. So for like they're coming to me hypothetically and saying, you're a content creator, you can monetize your content for viewers who are interested in you. And it's like, oh, cool. And I will make videos, which then people will pay to see my stuff. Whereas I feel like the Spark Lab is more B2C, and it's like, hey, you guys are the viewers. I'm going to try to do my best to populate the site to give you the best viewing experience as possible, and then you decide what tier of membership you want to have and how engaged you want to be on that site. So I feel like that's the main difference between also Newcastle doing more like movies and stuff, where I don't necessarily want to get into that realm, at least not initially anytime soon. But apart from just saying I don't think there's anybody really doing what we're doing specifically. There's a lot of Web 2 versions, right? You've got Netflix and Amazon Prime, and you've got plenty of those to have a case study for. But just in terms of Web 3, I don't think there's one. Two that came to mind is my network in the space. So we already have a lot of content creators again in this ecosystem that have already signed contracts. So we've got Atlantic, we've got Cardano Thor, Block is Hot, Freedom 35ers, Late Game Crypto. I think those are all the content creators, and then projects, Cornucopias, Dead Rabbit Resurrection Society, Keyboard Warriors, Chains of War, Virtua, Wolves of Rome. I think I'm missing some other ones, but like there's like 13 or 14, right, that have already signed on before we've even launched. So I think again, networking the space, it's basically like, hey, Blake's for real. He's not just coming in to like make a bag and like leave and just trying to start this thing up for no good reason. And then I think price is another one. I because I'm a content creator, I kind of know what YouTube pays for channels of my size or about my size, and so I can basically say like I basically know what YouTube's paying you. You either for your non-exclusive content, there's every contract's different, but like basically negotiating like you don't have to do any extra work, and you get paid extra because you're going to have it on my site because you're allowing me to. And then on the original stuff, I'm going to pay you way more than YouTube does, relative to the amount of views you'll probably get on the Spark Lab. So it's basically just competitive more than what YouTube could offer to get them to make original content for me. I think those are the two: price and network.
Yeah, yeah, I could see network being a very big mainstay in the project, because I feel like networking is like relationships are so key, and the fact that you listed all them names and different things, just it expands the exposure of the project, because then you got 20 plus people talking about it. So it's just like, hey, the Spark Lab, hey, the Spark Lab. Oh, I keep seeing the Spark Lab. So the fact that you already got that kind of in line, and you already have like more so like mapping out a game plan for that specifically, I could say like that speaks volumes, because that's going to expand the reach like of the project. So yeah, I could definitely I could definitely see the angle. And then too, I know you kind of said it a little bit, but like, do you have like any like long term like 5 year plans? Like, what would the project be? 5 years from now or 2 years from now, or different things. Would you ever try to branch into some type of like decentralized like media broadcast station or something, or like something along that vein, or just like having like some element to that, like in terms of just asking exactly like what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. What I foresee in the long term, that 2 to 5 years, I see a platform that is extremely focused and narrow, right? There's some people you kind of try to do too much where you're just kind of all things to all people, and you just kind of get lost. You kind of get mission drift. You're kind of off the road. I think when I envision it, I see the Spark Lab being available anywhere that you can view stuff. So whether that's laptop, desktop, um, phone, TV app, you kind of anywhere you can find it, and then it's a smooth user interface, user experience, and you can watch it for free if you want for the kind of curated stuff. You don't have to pay any money for it. If you want the original stuff, then that's similar to any other subscription service you have, which is $7.99 currently, the current price for that. And then the NFT is a really interesting thing where you have unlimited access and you kind of pay a one time, and then you can obviously sell it on secondary or kind of do all your NFT stuff with it if you want. You just connect your wallet. Um, but yeah, I see again back to network. I see the network effect growing. So not only number of videos that are on the site, that just is going to continue to grow and grow and grow just by the length of time that's going to happen. If you're doing things right, then content creators will want to come on, which then your content creator pool grows, and then projects are like, hey, our customer or whatever you want, like our community people are already here, so why don't we also have a presence here, which then drives projects to come, and then so basically again the network effect just kind of continues to grow, and then um, I'm full time at my job. I don't necessarily at Mint. I'm not taking any of the funds for myself, so I don't see. Hopefully, maybe in 2 to 5 years, if this thing goes well or the bull market goes into a great spot, then maybe that allows me to be able to focus on this a lot more full time. Um, but I just see it as a place where people can get, whether you're brand new, you're an intermediate level, or you're an advanced person in blockchain and you want to stay up to date on everything. Like that's kind of where I see the Spark Lab hitting those types of people who want to learn and kind of research.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's something that one thing I like to look for in projects in terms of like having like a long term viewpoint. Because I mean, my plan is to stay in the space long term. Just because I'm passionate, I believe in the technology, I believe in innovation ideas. I just want to see doper and doper shit into the space. So that's
Yeah.
something that I always look for. I know you had mentioned like in terms of like your pricing with the 7.99 for those that don't have like the NFTs. I'll just strictly just be for those that don't own an NFT with the Spark Lab. That is be purely like a subscription model that people could just go and access that's outside of the community. Will there be tiers to the subscription model? Or is it just strictly just the 7.99 plan?
Yeah, it's strictly just 7.99 for now. But like, let's say again, we open up courses, then there can be a tier where if you're brand new, you might not need the Atlantic and Freedom 35ers videos because you're not there yet. So maybe there's a small like either you pay for the kind of entire course, or the course is free, or it's we kind of have some flexibility there. But the reason we did the 7.99 USD is we didn't want to be hindered by the amount. It's not your typical NFT project where you're limited by the amount of NFTs you've minted. You know, Chilled Kongs, you can only have 8,888 of the OG holders, and obviously the distribution is much lower than that. You can't grow past that, which is why they had to do Magic Kongs and Mushroom Kong for new people to get into the project. So it's like the NFT can kind of be its own thing, and people who are really invested in you and like want to see the team and everything grow, great. Okay, well if you don't want to spend the minting price is 450 ADA, great. There's the 799 option for you right there. If you don't want to do the 799 option, great again. Infinitely scalable. You can do the free version.
Yeah.
Again, and that's been a model in Web 2 that's been very successful. And so we're not trying to reinvent the wheel to be like, oh, you got to do it some crazy like unique way. It's like, man, everybody, most software as a service things are free to try and see if you like it, and you can go as deep as you want to go. But yeah, right now $7.99 is kind of the monthly, and we feel like that's a good middle ground. Some people will, Twitch is very popular. Some people will subscribe to somebody for $5 a month for Twitch, and they get no ads, and that's basically what they get for their $5 a month. So it's like offering a product the size and scale of this with multiple creators and like ad free viewing and all the different kind of stuff we have. It's like that it's a fair price.
Yeah, I could see how you're bridging like you have like your focus in terms of like people that are already in NFTs. You have a basically like maybe a guide for them as far as, all right, here's like a pool that you could jump into, and then also you have a plan for people that are not in NFTs and just like, okay, well then just watch the free content or just buy the subscription base. So I can see how you're just kind of you know doing best of both worlds in terms of like catering to both like aspects, which I feel like is good because that offers like long term sustainability of the project. And then, like you said, not everybody wants to go on this crazy NFT craze or something like that. So there's some people just like it, and then from there, they got the subscription model or they got the free information. They be like, damn, I really like this. Then they could kind of jump in at their own pace. So yeah, I could see that angle. Um, and also, like, even with like the NFTs, I know they get access into the pool. Have you ever considered, or amongst your team or just different things, some type of like, I know had a background in teaching, some type of learn to earn feature if they go through courses, or like maybe if they had like some watch to earn feature if they watch so many videos, they might get rewarded somehow. Have you ever like considered that like for your project?
I have considered it. Legally, that gets you get into some tricky places.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I have to. The way I see it is like if there's a way for projects to worry about all that other stuff, and I just host the video, right? If I maybe open up my APIs to let them see, okay, did X person watch X video, and then they do all the, oh, you get X number of hypothetical yummy token or whatever. Great, like
Mm.
that's awesome. I don't know if we could necessarily host you're getting paid a certain thing, and I don't foresee doing a token, so it's not like you own Spark. You'll earn Spark tokens by watching. Then again, you run into, I don't know. I'm not ready to jump into that water yet. If we get to a point where that's really helpful,
Yeah.
then we might just say like let's spend the money to kind of dig deeper into researching what that looks like legally. The one thing that actually has a little bit of merit that I think could work is Mallard Order. Demosthenes has something called like Raiders Guild, I think is the name, or something where people who are in the Mallard Order can raid certain tweets or certain videos or something, and they get rewarded by doing that certain
Mm.
thing, by doing that action. And so if the Mallard Order and Spark Lab do a collaboration, then it's possible that that raid guild thing could be like, watch this Spark Lab video, and then they could get rewarded with whatever the raid guild wants to do with them, and we're just kind of the intermediary hosting the video and doing something with that. And demo is like, great, let's try to get together with me, you, and Thad, and we'll talk it out. So that's probably the most the most concrete, fluid examples that I could give right now.
Yeah, yeah. Tokenomics can be like, and just creating a token in general could be a very tricky process, in terms of like people are gonna like inflate the token, and like you get to
Right.
have like some type of asset outside of fiat that people are just like, okay, damn, I value this just as much as money, and it's just like just different things with that. So it's like a very tricky process, but I mean it's good to know in general that your team has considered that, and just keeping your options open. If I'm like here understanding you correctly, but
Right.
yeah, just in terms, I know for me, I want to be very respectful for your time. So we just coming to the end of this interview. But I did want to ask like if there was any last things that you wanted to speak on about your project, or just different things you wanted to bring up, and also like where can people find you at, and just different things like that.
Yeah, I think we covered a really good amount. Again, I think just highlighting the three different options. Free is not necessarily free at this current moment. That's probably going to be maybe in the next month or so. We're opening up to more of the free thing. Monthly subscription is open now, so thesparklab.co is our website, and you can go there right now, look through the videos. You can create an account, just kind of get a feel of what it would be like, and yeah, so you can go and play around with that. I mean, our mint is going to be May 1st, so we do have a mint date. We are selling 250 NFTs, so very limited supply. One, it's just the bear market, and we're okay with going slow. We had initially, had a higher quantity than that, and it was just like, one, we don't really need all of that up front right now, and like let's just keep it slow and steady. 250 NFTs and then 450 ADA per NFT, so a little bit higher mint price, lower quantity, but again, it's unlimited access to the Spark Lab. That is a whitelist mint, and we are over allocated on that just to be safe. I'm not going to expect every person who confirms their address to mint that 450 price. So it's just more like, hey, if you're in that whitelist, you get that initial try at it for a 24-hour mint window, and then it'll go open to public if there are any NFTs remaining. Yeah, so sparklab.co, Twitter is @thesparklab, and our Discord is discord.gg/thesparklab. Kind of all the socials are the same. So you can pop into Discord and ask questions, and yeah, there's lots of different places to go. I'll just leave it at that, though.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, I appreciate you hopping on. I couldn't have said it better myself. I definitely left you at the last word. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. This is Stu from Stu TV. I cover all things blockchain, metaverse, crypto, NFTs, all money making opportunities in space. Catch you in the next one.